Welcome to Nutty Buddy Sports.
That's okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Nutty Buddy Sports. I am your host, Ryan, and this is our instant reaction to the Super Bowl that just took place, where Matthew Stafford and the the LA Rams won the Super Bowl. And to talk about the instant reaction with me, I got our resident Bengals fan on, Travis. Travis, how you feeling right now?
Swiping my tears away, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about the game for a little bit. We're not gonna obviously make this very long. What was your takeaway from the game?
It was a good game. I'm glad it came down to the wire again. One of the other guys that I was watching it with, we were actually hoping it would have went to overtime, like most of the playoffs have gone. So it was a good game, but like we said in our predictions as to what needs to happen for each team, I mean, we said Aaron Donald needs to be Aaron Donald, and Cooper Kupp will be Cooper Kupp, and the Bengals offensive line will be the Bengals offensive line.
And that all happened. Happened. Yeah. Did you get that message from Luke? He wanted me to tell everybody that the next Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, did not score a legitimate touchdown or throw a legitimate touchdown in today's game. So I'm just going to let the audience know before I forget. I guess my takeaway, it was fun Super Bowl. I felt like the tides definitely turned when Odell got injured. I think that like changed everything. Not that the Bengals couldn't keep up with the Rams, but the Rams were kind of moving their offense pretty nicely with Odell on the field. But once he got injured, I got their next 5 drives here. Interception. So that was the interception he threw in the back of the end zone when Jefferson there kept backpedaling when he probably should have high point the ball. A 3-and-out, another interception. That was a bad throw by Stafford that the wide receiver tipped into the air and got picked. A field goal, 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. And then I think they finally scored a touchdown after that. So they could not move the ball without Odell for the longest time. But when it mattered the most, Matthew Stafford showed up.
Oh, Cooper Kupp did what Cooper Kupp does.
Yeah. Did you see that one throw, though, that he threw to Cooper Kupp? Like the one that was like a laser in between the zone defense? That was a great pass.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to send you.
I remember the multiple overthrows he had, though.
Yeah. Well, no, you're not wrong. I think like what happened, though, is once Odell went down, you're now throwing to this. What was his name? Number 18. Ben
Hopkins.
No, Ben.
Oh yeah.
Skora. I don't know. Skoronik,
I think it is.
Skoronik. That's it. Skoronik. And I don't think his timing was all that there with him. I think they were totally off the same page, like not on the same page. And then like the Bengals were super smart and they're like, yeah, we're just going to make you throw it to anyone besides Kupp. And then for some reason, when the game was on the line, even that last pass in the end zone when Kupp caught it, he was being single covered. What was up with that?
I don't get it. There's one guy. I said this the whole game. There's one guy, even when Odell was still healthy, I'm like, make everybody else beat you. Mm-hmm. There's one guy you need to cover, double cover, and that's Cooper Kupp. And he's still, I don't know how he does it, but he did it. And he won MVP, so props to him.
Yeah, props to Kupp. How did you feel about your guy Burrow's play?
I mean, he did okay. He still didn't play amazing in my eyes. Like most of the stuff he did, the wide receivers got the yards after the play. So, I mean, the touchdown he did throw really should have been a flag.
Yeah.
Although maybe it's just me, but so in normal speed for that, I did not notice the face mask at all. But when they slowed it down, it was quite obvious as to what it was. But whatever. I mean, the refs' flags came out at the end of the game anyways to make up for it. So
yeah, I agree. Like, so when I watched it full speed, I saw Ramsey fall, and it looked like I was like he had to push them. Like that's my first. I thought he got pushed from behind, and then when you watch it, I didn't see the face mask until the replay too as well. And then like, yeah, you're right. At the end of the game, especially I think it was on third down when the linebacker got called for holding on Cup because he had his hands on him, but there wasn't like a hold. I felt like,
That was
and
terrible.
yeah, the ball
That
was
call was terrible.
yeah, and the ball was also thrown behind Cup. Like it wasn't even like a good pass by Stafford. So that was a bad call. That to me was like the makeup call that they're like, okay, we got to give the Rams because we missed that face mask. And then like 2 more times they threw flags after that. That's just like, wow, we have more flags in the last 2 minutes of the game than we did the first 58 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to Burrow, he didn't do anything that was that amazing. I mean, he just kind of played average in my opinion. And mainly it's because he didn't have any time. So even his good throws, he's thrown on the run, or I think he had like less than 2 seconds every snap to make a decision. And then it's like he just has to take a sack because he can't. His first read, if it's not there, somebody's in his face.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Actually, I thought he was under a lot of pressure. You get sacked, what, 7 times did we figure? But
Yep.
he almost got sacked 8 if he didn't get that ball out of his hands at the end of the game there, where Donald should have had his 3rd sack of the game. I did like what the Rams did as far as adjusting, where they would overload that side of the line after the second half and then get Donald in those one-on-one matchups. And also Von Miller would because Burrow a couple times moved up into the pocket and was able to like run for a first down once or twice. And then it seemed like they also adjusted where Von Miller would kind of go inside of the towards the line of scrimmage, towards the center. So then it kind of closed up that hole and gave the guys some time to get to Burrow. So I'd have to say good in-game adjusting by their defensive coordinator. I think it's Raheem Moore, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Do you know for sure? Or
I don't know.
Anyway. Good job, dude. That's all I have to say. Good in-game adjustment. Chase had that really great one-handed catch when he blew by Ramsey. That was great.
That was nice. And he had that other sweet catch on what was supposed to be the game-winning drive, but their last drive, he played it where Ramsey thought he was going to have a tackle, but then he adjusted his body off to the side, so he made Ramsey miss. So that was awesome too. But Burrow, he missed a couple things, and I want to point out. So like the first drive for them, he had Mixon. I think it was Mixon, whoever the running back was. It was 3rd down. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Mixon. It was Boyd or Higgins was off to the side, and he was wide open. But it was on 4th down, and his eyes were only on Chase, and he was throwing the ball there no matter what. But the other wide receiver was wide open.
Was that where 50, the linebacker, came and tipped it? On that 4th
Ramsey
down?
actually almost picked it off, but there was another defender there too. But
gotcha.
And then a couple other things. So I thought Ramsey was going to be following Chase the whole night, but he did not.
Nope.
So when he wasn't on them, I was getting pretty irritated that Burrow was not looking at Chase for those plays, because there's a key 3rd down that he missed that Burrow or Chase was not. He was in the slot and he ran an out route, and Burrow didn't even look at him. So that was frustrating. And then there's another key play that I think cost them the game, which could have kept their drive going. And that was Boyd dropping that pass on their drive. It was like 3rd and 8. So
yeah, I think it hit him in the chest he was about 6 yards, but you're right, he could have fell forward too. I know the guy was about to meet him, so it would have been interesting if he would have got the first down, or if it would have set up like 4th and short where you go for it and try to like keep the drive going. But you're right, he should have caught that. Boy, definitely should have caught it. And as far as one thing I didn't even like Sean McVay didn't do till the end, which was surprising to me that Zach Taylor didn't do enough of, is getting the ball into Jamar Chase's hands, like you kind of mentioned, but not even like on jet sweeps or like quick screen passes. Like they didn't try any of that, which I'm a little surprised about. And it seemed to, like you said, like frustrate a lot of fans, like get Chase the ball the same way, like you want Cup to get the ball. And then on that, what really changed it for the Rams was that 4th and 1, they went for it after they ran the ball straight up the middle, like everybody knew they were going to do for like the 44th time. And they did like this jet sweep that, Cup got like 5 yards off of them. Like, there you go. Like that, that's what you got to do. They refused to run in shotgun. The Rams did. But anyway, I agree with you. They should have been looking for Chase more because he's so explosive. I'm surprised they didn't.
One other thing is, I don't like how much Perrine was in the game over Mixon a lot of times. I don't know what was going on there, but Mixon should have been in there for more third downs. And because wasn't even Perrine on 3rd and 1 and they ran it with him and he didn't get the first down?
Yeah. P Ryan, right?
Or yeah,
P Ryan. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, he was there on 3rd and 1 on the 50 or wherever they got to, and he ran it, not Mixon. Which again, you're right. He should have been in there.
Yeah. So that was a little frustrating. But let's talk about how the Rams almost blew it, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Before we get to that, yeah, let's go to the winning team, I guess. But I just, your guy Burrow will have more opportunities to get there. I think he's young. He plays gutty. He might be a little bit of a interesting character in some people's eyes, but you'll enjoy him for many years. And yeah, so Mixon had 4.8 yards a carry. So you're right. They probably even should have ran him more considering how often Joe Burrow was getting hit in the backfield. But anyway.
Yeah. Also with Burrow being compared, I never said or have ever compared him to being that great. So I don't know where everybody is coming up, like why they're saying that. And I was like, I don't get it quite yet, but
it's because I think Tom Brady, his second year, right, in the league, he won the Super Bowl. So it was just like this big comparison that some out, it's hyperbole. That's what it is. ESPN's like, oh, we can compare Joe Burrow with Tom Brady. Let's do it. Or even today when it was like putting Joe Namath and Joe Montana up there, Joe Burrow can be like with these names. It's like, can we hold off a little bit? Let's let him win. You're putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
Okay, on the other side, the Rams, let's talk about them. Yes, you're right. The coach is just, McVay did everything in his power to try to take the Super Bowl away from Matthew Stafford. That's the way I felt like the entire game. Eventually he realized like, oh yeah, maybe I should just try to get Cooper Kupp the ball, but like constantly running up the middle. So I'm going to read you the stats for the running backs. Okay. This is going to be fun. Akers had 13 carries, 21 yards. He averaged 1.6 yards a carry.
Whew.
Henderson had 4 carries, 7 yards, and 1.8 he averaged a carry. And then Sony Michel finally 2 carries, 2 yards, and 1 yard a carry.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yes.
They had, let's see, Stafford and Kupp had 13 yards. So if you subtract that from their total rushing yards, the Rams did absolutely terrible.
Oh, horrible. And like, my problem isn't like, I understand what they're trying to do. Like, let's be consistent. We run. And then, the defense knows we're not going to give up on the run. I get that part, but they weren't like doing different things like shotgun runs. And then the one time they did a shotgun run, they get like 8 yards. That was probably Akers' biggest carry of the game. Like his explosive 8 yards. Otherwise he probably would have averaged like 1 yard a carry. So it was frustrating watching that. And then the other thing is obviously just throw the ball more. Like if you're not able to run, just throw the ball more. They get it on like 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 2. And then I think it was Michelle gets tackled for like a 3-yard loss in the backfield when you're trying to still get the scoring drive to take the lead. That was frustrating. And then like Stafford did have that was you got all of Stafford, by the way, in this game. Okay. You had the really good Stafford when Odell and Kupp were on the field. And then you had like I'm gonna throw the ball. Like the reason why he's not an elite quarterback, Matthew Stafford, right? Like he overthrows receivers. I think he gets a little skittish. He tries to force it in places he shouldn't. And then you got the game-winning Matthew Stafford, which is what we saw in Detroit every now and then, like that he would get an opportunity to go win the game, and that's what he did. So I was happy to see all versions of Matthew Stafford, and stressed and annoyed and upset and disappointed, all those feelings, you know what I'm saying?
Well, their offensive line did pretty good. It doesn't help that I don't think the Bengals blitz that often, because I only saw him rushing 4 for most of the game. So it was a little irritating that the Bengals weren't doing that to get to Stafford, but I think they were afraid of Kupp getting a big play, basically. But he only got sacked twice, Stafford did. And on their trick play, I just want to say it's good that he didn't catch it, because I feel like he was going to get lit up if he did.
Oh, yes.
Their end around pass to Stafford.
Oh, thanks for reminding me of that play too. What a ridiculous play. So I think that was on 4th down too, right?
Or
was that right before they kicked the field goal? That might have been right before they kicked the field goal.
I don't think it was a 4th down play.
Okay.
Because we would have tore him up more if that was a 4th down play.
That's fair. That's fair. All I remember though is them running. I think they must have got 9 yards the first play, and then the second play they ran up the middle for like nothing, like every other run they did. And then they like, hey, let's do a reverse pass from Kupp to the Stafford. I'm like, oh my word, what are we doing out here? Like, I can't handle the coaching from McVay sometimes. It almost shot him in the foot. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some positive things, I thought that, especially in the second half, Donald and Von Miller came to play. Like they were so destructive. When Alshon Robinson was in the game, he was able to slow down the Bengals run, which helped like kind of dictate to the Bengals what they were going to do and what they had to run. I also feel like Zach Taylor kind of gave up a little too much when Alshon Robinson was out there. Like he's like, oh, well, we're going to have to do something a little different, like a draw play or whatever. And it's just like, well, maybe just you're averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Just continue to run the ball. Like what, tire them out a little bit, I guess.
Right.
But Donald definitely came through in the end. I think Von Miller did as well. And then Kupp. So yeah, amazing. Were
you waiting for Akers to fumble? Because I thought for sure it was going to happen.
There was one play I thought it was going to happen. I think it was the play he ran and the guy came, like he did a spin and the guy came out of nowhere and like hit him in the back and he kind of like went in the air and then he fell. And I thought that was definitely going to be the play he fumbled, but he didn't. So I was kind of happy about that. But okay, before we move on, talk about who won MVP, if you think that's right. Just a little bit more on the flags. Do you want to talk about that anymore? Are we good with that? The flags, because I know they kind of like, especially towards the end.
So even everybody I was with agreed they didn't call anything the whole game. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden on the last drive, there was 3 penalties?
Yeah, there was the one that wasn't a hold on Kupp. There was one that Stafford threw to the corner of the end zone when that was a hold. Like, you know, that should have probably been called. And then they had the one where there was a holding and then the hit on Cooper Kupp that offset each other. So there was 4 flags technically.
So it was a little frustrating that all of a sudden they don't call anything and then they call this. But I mean, they blew it with that one face mask earlier, so I was kind of just waiting for a makeup call, but I don't know. I was hoping that they could have got done with one less of those penalties, and I would have been fine with it. But it just, the sequences that it happened in was just like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, so I agree, like, because and even DJ, who's been on the podcast, he mentioned the same thing. Basically, like, you got to just be consistent, because if you allow them to play a certain way all game, and then all of a sudden the last 2 minutes you call it differently, usually it's reverse, right? Like, usually they swallow their whistle in the last 2 minutes, and then, but they kind of did it backwards. I was waiting for a makeup call, though. I was like, the NFL cannot, because otherwise everybody would be talking about that missed face mask, because really that was the difference in the game up to that point, right? So I was waiting for a makeup call. Now, there was a couple times, but again, this is what they were allowing them to do. Now, I don't agree with it. When they say let them play, I'm like, okay, but they still have to play within the rules, right? It's like, if you're playing chess, I can't just use the king and like drive your guys all over the place because I want to do it. You still got to play within the rules. So the idea of letting them play, if they're doing something illegal, it still should be a flag. Like, I that's the way I feel. Like, otherwise, essentially you're letting them cheat. That's the way I feel. Anyway, and there was 1 or 2 times, I don't know if you got my text, where I was like, the Bengals corners are like holding hands out there, where Jefferson would go up with one hand. You could see on the replay, like, the Bengal like holding his hand, but I'm surprised they didn't throw it then, but they threw it in kind of the most like, it wasn't even egregious. Like, it wasn't close to me. The one that they gave the makeup call, it wasn't close to me. It
should have
have
just
been
been on that one with Cup in the end, in the corner end zone.
Right.
That should have been the only one.
That one was for sure. Like, you got to throw a flag on that one because he couldn't even get to his spot, right? But the one that he got the what I consider the makeup call, that was just not like, you got to at least make it look good, and that did not look good. So I sort of agree with that. I don't know if the Rams win without that call, by the way, just being honest. As somebody who is rooting for the Rams and Matthew Stafford, I don't know if the Rams win without that call.
And somebody, I think, pointed it out in our group chat that there was no like holding penalties on like any of the offensive lines, I don't think.
No,
they never do that either. In the regular season, it's holding after holding, but
except that one play where they offset each other, right? Like, because that's what was the Bengals. I mean, the Rams got called for holding. And the other thing, me and Megan, I was watching the game with Megan, we noticed after the Cup hit, he never got checked for a concussion, and he was hit right in the head.
I thought about that too. I was like, no concussion protocol for him, but whatever. What did you think about, did you think it was going to be a battle of the backup quarterbacks at one point?
Oh, that was
Stafford's ankle and Burrow's knee.
I thought Burrow got hurt, like, because the way he was limping off. Stafford, yeah, I guess. I just like, yeah, I was worried about that, to be honest with you. I was just like,
I don't know how his ankle didn't break when they did that slow-mo. It looked like it was going to be a Dak Prescott ankle.
Mm-hmm. But which is funny, because you're not supposed to go low on the quarterback. So you think either one of them. I guess I don't remember the one that happened with Burrow or Stafford that well, but I was surprised that people were around their legs.
Stafford was getting dragged down, and his ankle got caught underneath the guy, and then he got bent like back, so his ankle was like about to snap, but eventually it just flipped over, but it did not look good.
Yeah. And then unfortunately Odell Beckham got injured. That was sad. He had 2 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown up until that point. So let's see here. What did you think of the halftime show?
It was all right. I didn't have any, major issues with it. I mean, it's better than watching the Rolling Stones. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I was like bobbing my head to it. I'm like, man, I remember these songs on the radio back in the day,
Yep.
That was great. Any of the commercials?
Honestly, I know there was maybe one that was decent, but I don't even remember which one it was. And my wife and I were trying to remember which one was funny on the way home, but I don't remember any of them being really that great.
So
But I also was with a group of people, so we were talking a lot of the time, so I
Oh.
couldn't hear some of them. But
two commercials that came to mind. One, I'm a nerd. The Multiverse of Madness commercial came out. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a trailer for it. No,
is that the Doctor? Is that Doctor Strange? Yeah, I gotta watch that when we're done because I didn't get to actually see that one.
Yeah, that's some cool stuff in there. I won't spoil anything. But the second thing, there was a Doritos commercial where she like dropped a Cheetos flaming hot bag and then they started beatboxing. Me and Megan thought that was the best commercial.
I remember the cable guy one. That's the one my wife and I liked.
That one was good
That
too.
was pretty good.
That was
But yeah,
good
the commercials overall, another disappointing year. Like nobody can come up with any good stuff. There was one commercial, the puppy dog one, the robotic puppy dog.
Oh, yes.
For the car commercial. Nathan, who's been on the podcast before, had a great ending for that. When he was jumping into the car and his battery went out, Nathan's like, it should have ended right there, and they should have been like, should have got Duracell batteries, and then that should have been it.
That would have been great.
I'm like, Nate, you should be writing commercials. It's better than all these that we've seen.
Yeah, that would have been great. MVP Cooper Cup.
Yeah, he alone, I mean, he did what he needed to do. He didn't make any like critical mistakes this game. I mean, he missed a throw, but big deal there.
Right.
But he had that huge fourth down rush where if he would have kept going, he would have got tackled, I think, short, but he made a nice cut to get that first down. But if it wasn't going to be him, it should be Donald. Even though Donald didn't have like stat-wise a huge game, he still had, I forgot how many sacks he had.
2. He had 2. Yeah.
But like he was in the right spot all the time. He was always up there getting pressure on Burrow. So, but Cup, I'm fine with it going to Cup.
Me too. Even as a Stafford guy, I really didn't think Stafford deserved it.
He threw his 2 picks he threw. I know one of them wasn't really his fault, and he threw it where the guy was trying to catch it one-handed. And I think Stafford forgot that wasn't Beckham that he was throwing to.
Yeah, I think the timing was off on that one. And the first one, if that was Marvin Jones back there, that's probably a touchdown. Van Jefferson kept running. He should have saw where the ball was and high pointed it. But like if that was Odell or Cooper Kupp or Marvin Jones or Calvin Johnson or Kenny Golladay, like the guys that like Stafford like throws the ball up to and lets the receiver high point, like he gives his guys chances. It was underthrown on purpose. Like I've watched Matthew Stafford long enough to know when he does that. And like Van Jefferson was just kind of running towards the back of the end zone still, and he really should have, slowed down a little bit and tried to jump for it. But he's got 2 interceptions on his stat line, so you can't win the MVP, especially with Kupp being the difference at the end of the game there. So I agree with you. It should have been Kupp or Donald. So if Donald would have forced that interception for a touchdown in the last play, like let's say if Ramsey came in and picked it off and went for a touchdown, maybe Donald gets it, but he needs something else. Okay, man. Anything else?
Bengals are going to be drafting an offensive line next year.
All year, yeah.
If Burrow gets the time, he'll make the right read, but he just did not have the time tonight.
Yeah, I would say that this would be the one game I might have been right. They should have picked up Sewell over because they didn't even try to use Chase. I'm just joking because I'm sure that the defense focused in on Chase anyway, even if he wasn't being covered by Ramsey. But
I want to know where Thaddeus Moss was.
That's a good point. They missed an opportunity right there. Okay, Travis. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Thank you all for listening. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click on the link below if you'd like to hear us talk about the Super Bowl before the game, the preview. And then we'll probably be doing a Super Bowl recap show sometime this week. So look out for that on the podcast feed. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys later. Go Matthew Stafford. Yeah, you're right.
Congrats, Odell.
Yeah.